Welcome to Secura Law Experience. I'm Luis Elizalde, founder of Secura Law. I'm here with
Stephanie de la Millar
and Eduardo Borgard.
Great. We have a new episode. I'm kind of tired today, but I'm really glad to be here to speak about the topic that we have today. It's a really good one that everyone is going to be very interested because we find out the best way with an LLC acquire a property in Quintana Roo or here in Riviera Maya. Do you think it's a really good idea to do that?
You want to the matrix, like.
Well, it at the end it depends on the specific situation of the client and the closing. Obviously, we will never advise something that will put you in trouble with the law, but there are several possibilities, which is the one of those we're gonna address.
I think the most important. The most important is about the purpose of it. Because sometimes, as an American and Canadian, normally more Americans, that they think that if they put an LLC the property like they do in the States, they think they're not gonna have liabilities, and that doesn't work like that in Mexico. You know, it's Mexico. It's not like magic Mexico, you know. But the thing is, everything works very different, and you don't have to worry about that. If that is the purpose to do the LLC, I think that we recommend that you go directly with your name. You know, is less headache, better, faster.
Better tax-wise.
Also tax-wise, exactly. Good one. But we have sometimes that they are looking for the purpose or objective to have that is. Any ideas?
To have an LLC?
Yes.
The purpose is to protect themselves legally.
No.
For any liability.
That's one purpose. But
Yeah.
the second
tricky one.
The tricky one, exactly. No?
To sell shares
of
of the company and convey the property.
Exactly. They are thinking, okay, I'm gonna buy the property, I'm gonna put it the LLC, and then instead of selling in Mexico and pay taxes, why don't we sell the shares of the company in the States? No one knows. We're not gonna pay taxes. I receive my money. You know, that way of thinking is like, dude, nah. Really? You know, it's not that easy. Okay, it's something that is normal, and
I will say that it's easy, but it's not that simple. It's not like, okay, yes, I went into the tax system, and now I'm not paying taxes, and so on. The next buyer doesn't pay any taxes because you have to bear in mind that there is the chance that the next buyer doesn't want to buy the LLC because it's not according to their needs. They already have plenty of LLCs and they don't want one anymore, another one more. So at the end, all the savings that you were having crash when you want to sell it, and you will have to pay capital gain taxes.
That's crazy. Yeah. The client that we have for that, we have several, but one that I saw, it was from 1992, the first one that bought the property. They formalized or they incorporate the LLC and the trust was from that day. And they sold it like...
Down the road, like 5 to 6 years after that?
No. They sold it like 5 times the property. It's another one. Yeah. It's not the same one that you're thinking. And at the end, like they start like 100,000 this property. After 20 years, the last seller was selling for $1,200,000, $1,500,000, something like that. And their capital gain taxes, because the record title was 100,000, it was like 300,000 in capital gain taxes, something like that, or 400,000, something like that. And the client or the seller, he didn't understand why, because at the end he paid for when he bought, like was 2 years before, he pays like a million 100, and he said, why I have to pay all of that? And when he understand, because the new buyer, he doesn't want the LLC, he wants his own trust, his own fideicomiso, everything. In that moment, he realized that the real declared value was 100,000, not the million that he paid in the United States. And he said, hey, but I have to bring everything that I did in the United States, in the States, here to Mexico. Okay, so you're going to declare that you cheat of the system?
Mm-hmm.
That's a felony in Mexico.
Exactly.
So-
You're disclosing, okay, I'm trying to cheat you guys and now reduce my taxes, please.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make sense now.
So when we explain to him, hey, if you try to do that, it's a felony in Mexico, so it's going to be more problem for you. It's something that sometimes, at the moment, sounds really good. But if we move to the future, it's going to be a
Yes.
real problem,
Yes.
Yeah, because at some point you gotta pay the taxman here in Mexico when the transaction gets legally recorded, how it should be, because every transaction has to be recorded in the public registry here to be valid. So that's the missing point of doing that with the shares in the United States.
The one that you have, remember, can you give us a...
With the car.
Well, for that specific one,
What car?
The sale included a car,
the
no?
property included, car, furniture,
You cannot do that. You can do it, but you can do that.
workers,
Okay.
everything.
Workers, they're not slaves, man.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, for that specific one, the story is the parents of these people that were selling when I handled the transaction. They purchased an LLC from a friend of them that was the
Oh.
original creator of the fideicomiso here with an LLC in the United States. So we're talking 20 years, right? So sometime down the road, their parents purchased that LLC, only the shares.
And they changed the name of the LLC.
No,
No?
stay
Okay.
stay the same.
Okay.
The thing is, when their parents passed away, the kids, our clients, said, we don't want to do nothing with Mexico down there. We never go. We just have that asset there collecting dust, so we might as well sell it. And they started selling the property, and the person that purchased it, same thing. I don't want nothing to do with an LLC there. I just want my
Exactly.
fideicomiso regularly. I love the house. I love everything. I want to purchase with the car with everything inside.
With the workers.
With
Yeah.
the workers.
So when that happens, we started looking into it, and I started requesting all the documents that they had, and I noticed that the person in the bank trust in Mexico owning the LLC no longer had it really in the paperwork of the LLC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the bomb blew up,
Exactly.
because I requested all the documentation to see like the timeline of what happened, and when I turned to the bank to request the instruction letter, the bank said, who's these people? I have no recollection of them. The legal representative is this person. So I said, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
And that actually, I mean, in the contract terms with the trustee bank, can be considered as a breach of the contract because they never give notice of
To the
this.
bank.
So the bank can actually cancel the trust. I mean, obviously you have to transfer to someone else, to some other bank, but that means expenses. It doesn't mean that you are losing the property, because that is a very common thought. Okay, if I have to change the trustee bank because I'm breaching the contract, do I have then the risk of losing the ownership? No, you don't, but you have to pay closing cost again.
But we can do that with Bancomer? BBVA? Oh, sorry, I have a mistake. Let's cancel the trust and send it to a better bank.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean,
Yeah, I know that you don't want to say anything. They are really nice guys.
I mean,
We are attorneys. We have to be polite.
the thing about this is that we managed to pull up a strategy between the banks and us, the lawyers of the sellers.
It was 2 banks or just one? The new one, right?
Well, the new one that wasn't involved at that point, the bank that the trust was in, and us, we like gather all the documentation and we send it to the bank and we notarized, we apostilled, we translated everything.
It was also with the Mexican City attorneys.
Mhm.
Oh my God, that's crazy. This is something important that we have to say. And
It's a nightmare.
we're no, but we respect our colleagues, colleagues. But if you are not from the area where the property is and you don't understand exactly how that works, you can ask. Don't feel like, hey, because I'm an attorney, because I'm the attorney of the corporation, blah, blah, blah. And they feel like they have to know everything. No, you can ask us. It's very simple, and make it simple. And make the closing very smooth, because a trust, a fideicomiso for residential purpose is too simple. And they were saying like, hey, you need the administrator of the trust. Where is the tax ID of the trust? They were thinking about the trust that you can use normally in Mexico City that is totally different fideicomiso. So when we tried to explain everything, they didn't understand at the beginning, because they were in that
denial. And sorry to interrupt you, but
no, it's okay.
The thing that happens is that they start hurting the client money-wise, because, for example, something as little as a power of attorney, we created the power of attorney for the client to issue it in the States. They notarized it, apostilled it, and then when they send it here, they first send it to them in Mexico City. And in Mexico City, in their civil code, they have to protocolize again that power of attorney. That doesn't happen here. So there, they requested the client to pay more money to do it again here.
More time.
And then they send it to us. And when we received it, we were like, wait, what?
But you know that don't make sense?
Yeah, but for them, makes sense.
No, but
Legally.
But
No, legally
really?
speaking, it doesn't make sense.
exactly.
No?
Thank you.
Because the...
Why would you do it twice?
Exactly.
Because the formalization of the power of attorney comes with the notary and the...
with the apostille.
With the apostille, yeah.
Only with the apostille. That's a international treat. It's treat. It's not make sense. This is gonna be valid because in our civil code, you have to formalize it with the notary public. What? An international treat is equal to the Constitution.
Yes.
The civil code here.
Yeah.
Apostille here. And if you don't have that, it's not valid. Come on. It's unbelievable, legally speaking.
But that's the way they do it in Mexico City, right? And
that's the reason we're... Nah.
Yeah. And those attorneys were work there, so obviously they want to do it their way.
Of course.
But when we tried to explain to them, they said, we don't care. That's the way how we do it. That's the way it's going to be done. And at the end of the day, it was an unnecessary step.
Unnecessary.
And expense.
Yes.
For the client.
That delays the process that
Also.
might cause
On top
that...
of all the capital gains that they had to pay, right?
Exactly.
So, since you have these kind of issues, you were trying to
Adding.
shave as much money and expenses as you can for the clients.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, because they're trying to make money out of an asset they had here that they no longer want. Defeats the purpose, but
Yeah, as you can see, to get an LLC for taxes purposes, or it's an idea that you got from your friend, whatever, or whoever, you have to consider this kind of things, more about the taxes in the future that gonna be hurt you.
don't risk it.
Yeah.
Right?
Keep it simple. It's always that we said, keep it simple, because at the end, it's simple, you know? Of course, has a process. Of course, you need a lot knowledge to do it. Why complicate things?
Yes.
You know? And as you said, if you get the trust, tax-wise, if you get your residence, you have a trust at your name with your couple. You can extend taxes if you are doing the correct things through the time. You know, you don't have to rush anything. You know, so we already have clients like that they are prepared for everything, and that's a really smooth closing.
Thank you.
Don't.
Thank you, clients.
Yes, thank
you to those clients.
We don't have to rush anything. They have all the papers prepared. They are moving. Meanwhile, they are enjoying the property. You know, that's really, really good. At the end, they don't pay taxes, but because it's not a strategy or I'm gonna avoid taxes. No, because it's their right to exempt taxes. So
That's why we mentioned that owning the trust personally ends up being better tax-wise than having it in an LLC.
yeah,
Because if they comply with all the necessary steps at the point of selling, they are going to be able to use that right, as you said. But sometimes they do it without even thinking about it, just doing the things that they have to do as they go. And some people that want to make like the whole strategy from the beginning, sometimes they jinx it and they are stuck at some point, and at the point of selling, they cannot do what they needed to.
exactly.
They don't flow.
Exactly. It's
To-
like that.
To put it somewhere.
But that's like right now our focus on this conversation was that okay, don't do LLC for one property because in the future. But we also have a case of success, if you want to say it, doing something like that. But everybody has to be very aware of the situation, and we have we have the experience with one condominium that is located, I think it's Akumal, that they have like 8 units. There is no condominium regime. The owner, of course, through a trust, is an LLC, and that LLC divided shares for each unit, and they can sell it. You know, they can do whatever they do in the United States, but the thing is that they record everything. They have documentation for everything. If they sell a property in 50,000 and then 100, the one that they buy and the seller, they record the taxes that they paid. You know, all of this, when they did the correct thing, it's simple. You know,
It worked.
but they have to be aware, and this is a very specific case that is only one condominium, because I also saw another condominium with the same idea, but everybody went crazy. But in this one, everything works because they do everything by the book, you know? So that's a success
Story?
story, yeah?
And they were agree from the first beginning, no?
Yes.
Every a person that comes into the building to buy a unit have to be in agreement that they want the LLC. So my point
The
is
share.
the share. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the share, and be part of the LLC as a
Exact-
shareholders.
Exactly.
The main point of all of this is that there is a market of persons that want to do that.
Exactly.
I think that is the main point about our concerns and doubts regarding owning a property in Mexico through the foreign entity. That there is no everyone's market. Not everybody is interested in buying through that process. So it's directed to very specific market, and you have to think about this fact that you cannot put it in the market for everyone, because not everyone is very into it. Maybe it will be a couple of persons that might buy it through this system that it's the right one, that it's very hard to achieve as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep it simple, in reality, our taxes. Everyone has to pay it, and own the property accordingly to if you were Mexican. The only difference is that you have to set up a trust. But I mean, we buy a property. We don't buy corporations. No,
Exactly.
you have to embrace the law system that you are getting into, and obviously understand it. That it's, I think that it's a milestone to do the things right. To in generally understand the legal system of Mexico will give you the peace of mind that you are doing the right thing, no? And of course, that's why we create this material, so you can have an approach about how the legal system works.
A point of view, right? Yeah.
So that it's, I think you only have to bear in mind that there is a specific market that is dedicated to buy through these LLC systems, no, or foreign entities systems.
Can we? Thank you. Can we give like three, from our own perspective, for our own experience, 3 points why or why not to use an LLC? Just 3 points.
One each?
No, 3 each one.
3 each one.
And we cannot repeat it. I go first.
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll go last.
No, first. You want?
Ladies first.
Ladies
Yes.
first, okay. As I said, there is you will see your options to sell it very reduced because it's dedicated to a very specific market. It can be tricky to get all the LLC documents legalized because every trustee bank has their own criteria about what documents they have to get, and everything has to be apostille translated to the Spanish by a certified translator, and that will take you time, money, and mind stress. And the third, it will be that it will be hard or more impossible to get the exemption of the capital gain taxes if you own it through that LLC.
Exactly. Ed?
I would say the first one would be that the timeline of the closing would be delayed
Good.
because actually, if you do it personally, the trust can be set up in 30 days or less. Right now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Mexico is working very fast.
What happened, Victor? Or what did you say?
Yeah, I mean, they are issuing permits in 4 days, less than a week.
Okay, good,
So
good.
That's
And he's sending a kiss like,
that's
Yeah.
very important. So if you do it through an LLC, you have to wait until you have all the documentation ready, documentation reviewed by the bank before you can ask for that permit. So you're waiving around a month
Okay.
in doing all that process.
That's the first point.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
the first point. The second would be that down the road, everything you want to do towards the trust, and if something changes in the LLC, is another waste of time because you have to update the bank on that. And for that, it makes no sense because, I mean, could be really straightforward, just one person and give the instruction, and with the company, you have to update them.
Okay.
And the third one would be, well, you said about the taxes.
yeah.
Would be that you have to pay translation services because the
Oh,
LLC, since it's in the United States and the official language in the United States is English, everything is in English. But when we come down in Mexico, where the fideicomiso is, our language is Spanish. So everything has to be properly translated by an official translator, and that is another cost and more time.
okay, that's good. So nah.
And you
Okay.
have to say 4.
Yeah. Okay, then why to acquire a property with the LLC? The first point will be, I think, if you are looking for the purpose to get an LLC for a liability, to avoid a liability here in Mexico, I think that is not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is through your name. The second point is related with the first, that don't do an LLC for taxes. In the future, it's gonna be a nightmare. The last one, the third point, is you cannot appoint your beneficiaries. That's something, a really good benefit that the fideicomiso can give you if you appoint your beneficiaries in that moment. With an LLC, at the end, it's an LLC, it's a corporation. You don't have beneficiaries in a corporation. So if you appoint that directly, your kids, if you appoint or if you don't use an LLC and you use your name, your kids is not going to have a headache if something happened to you.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's a very good one.
So
Pretty straightforward.
that was it was a really good episode. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. Clients, brokers, everybody. So thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Think it through.